Hello, Chem students. Today we are discussing errors in the lab, specifically human mistakes and sources of error. So, what's the difference between the two? Well, a human mistake, or a mistake that you make, is a whoops. The procedure was not followed or something was done incorrectly. An example would be if the lab procedure stated to measure 14 milliliters of water and you measured 15 milliliters of water. Or you were supposed to add the acid to the water and you did the reverse and added the water to the acid. Oh, the horror, and we'll talk about that in a few videos from now. A source of error is a limitation in the procedure. In other words, you did exactly as the procedure stated, but your data is not correct, precise, and/or accurate. Here are some questions to ask yourself to determine if there's a source of error. Could the procedure be done more precisely? An example would be if the procedure said to measure 14 milliliters of water and you used a beaker when you could have used a graduated cylinder. A beaker may be able to measure at best plus or minus 5 milliliters. So you could have measured anywhere between 15 milliliters of water and 25 milliliters of water with a beaker. A graduated cylinder is more precise and could measure anywhere from 19.5 milliliters of water to 20.5 milliliters of water. So if the answer to this question is yes, then it could be a source of error. Next question you might want to ask yourself is, could the procedure be done with less contamination? An example would be using the same piece of weighing paper to weigh different chemicals. An unseen chemical could remain on the weighing paper and then mix with the next chemical. So if the answer to this question is yes, it could be a source of error. Were the variables held constant really held constant? An example would be if the temperature of the room changed during the experiment when it was not supposed to change. Temperatures can speed up or slow down reactions, and they can also affect the volume a liquid occupies. Liquids have a tendency to expand when they get warmer or contract when they get colder. If the answer to this question is no, then it could be a source of error. So what assumptions were made in the collecting of data? Did you assume that the room temperature was constant throughout the experiment? Or did you assume the room temperature would not affect the data? Assumptions that are made could be sources of error if they affect the dependent variable. Was there a level of subjectivity in interpreting the data? In other words, did you have to estimate any of your results? Now let's practice. So the student miscalculated the density of the material. Is this a human mistake or a source of error? This would be a human mistake, and the big key word here is miscalculated. If the student miscalculated, that is a human mistake. The temperature of the room was assumed to be constant throughout the experiment. That is a source of error. The key word here would be assumed. When transferring the powder from the weighing paper to the flask, a small amount of powder remained on the weighing paper. This would be a source of error because a small amount of powder remained. So you said that it weighed a certain amount, but you didn't get it all off the weighing paper. The student used too much sodium chloride, NaCl, and had to repeat the experiment. Well, that would be a human mistake, because the student did not follow the procedure. The student added the solutions in the wrong order. This also would be a human mistake because they didn't follow the procedure. The student compared the results to his hand-drawn graph and estimated the volume to be about 145 milliliters. This would be a source of error. If you're ever estimating something, that is a source of error. And last, 20 drops of each solution were added to the reaction. Each drop was assumed to be the same volume. The key word here again is assumed, so that is a source of error if you're assuming anything. Thanks for watching.